welcome back to the Kiwi Advisor Network podcast. I'm the host, Warwick Slow, and today I'm joined by Paul Fuller from the Mortgage Room. Paul is a very well-established advisor. He's won multiple advisor awards. He's built a really sustainable business which aims to build generational wealth for his clients. On top of that, he's a great guy, very easy to talk to, and I really enjoyed the conversation. Make sure if you enjoyed the podcast and you get value from it, please, we'd really appreciate if you shared it around with your friends or colleagues or other people that might get value from it, because the more people we have listening to it, the more we can grow and the more we can invest into it. So sit back and relax, enjoy it. Thanks. Welcome to the Kiwi Advisor Network podcast, Paul. Stoked that you can join us all the way from sunny Blenheim. Thanks for popping up.
Thank you very much for having us.
So maybe a good place to start would just be finding out a little bit about your background and your business.
Yep. So I originally came from the banking side of things. Left school, started in the bank, the old Canterbury Savings Banks days, worked through to the Westpac merger. From there, decided to take a step into mortgage broking. Spent 3 years with a good mentor, you could say, in the form of Les Mackay. And once he retired, I started our own business called the Mortgage Room. And we've been going probably just on about 18 years now. So, and I've got now built a team of 6 of us, including myself and my lovely wife, Robin. And we have a couple of other support staff, and I have another advisor. So the way we've structured the business is that if anyone is away, there's someone to help cover sick leave, holidays, whatever.
And It also helps with customer service, I imagine, as well.
Yep. So we work on the system as we're a team. It doesn't matter who the client sees. So we're all paid a wage. The other advisor that I got, he wanted to be on wage, didn't want to be on commission. So that worked in really well with the way that I wanted to structure the business. For example, I didn't want the real estate mentality whereby this client is mine, this is my commission. We just wanted to be able to service the client, do what's best for the client, and we split the income goes into the mortgage room, and then we'll get a good wage from that. And as long as it's sustainable, that's what we're after.
And yeah, great way of looking at it. You know, everybody in the company is effectively, doing sales. They're representing the brand. Every time a customer engages with the mortgage room, they need to come away with that good feeling of having had that trademark customer experience.
Yeah, that's right. So we wanted to take that break away from, hey, look, it's driven by commission or driven by customer ownership. It's, one day someone might come in and see me, and next minute or next month, or when they finish that transaction, or in 6 months, if I'm not available, then they know they can talk to Bob, and vice versa. If Bob's sick or something like that, we just move on and serve that client. So they try and break down that any interference or and knowing that they've got a team behind us as opposed to just one individual.
Everybody on side.
Yep.
So how do you get the team on board for that type of thing? Is it part of the recruiting process when you're interviewing, or do you intentionally get that message across? How do you train it?
To be honest, I got really good staff, and that's the secret. Bob comes from a mortgage broking background. His mum was a very good mortgage broker. He's been in the industry some while. He moved from sunny Auckland down to Blenheim for less traffic, I've got to say. So, he's doing really well. The maturity of myself, the same age as me. And so it's more about lifestyle and things like that. And as far as the rest of the team goes, they either come with a bit of a mortgage or banking background. And I've also got a staff member that we're training up. So he's just recently passed all his level 5 for lending. And so he actually is a chef previously. And what happened was I met him, helped him and his wife at the time with his mortgage. He enjoyed the whole process and came to me one day and said, how do I get into this industry? I want to get out of being a chef. So I said to him, look, how about we take you on part-time? He's now my personal sort of assistant as such. And he's now done all his level 5 on his own back, and with the aim to one day become an advisor. And one day I'd like to think that he's there to take over the business, or someone like him as a progression stage, and get to know all our clients at the same time.
You must have, what an advert for the industry when he came to you. He's like, you did such a good job.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm probably not so much the best. Hey, look, the approach with our clients has always been, if you just make that one client really happy, then they'll tell 2 clients with any luck. And if you can impress those, build. And, I started when I went out, I didn't have any clients like most people. Yes, some of the clients from the bank followed me, but when I started the mortgage room, I started fresh, and it was just a case of making sure that one client was impressed and feed on from there. And word of mouth is so important, especially, it's probably whether it's the same in Auckland, I don't know, but in Marlborough, it's all about trust, and it's all about getting to know that client and doing what's right for them.
I guess in any smaller community, you're going to see each other a lot more, and
yeah.
You don't want to rub anybody the wrong way.
No, and I spent a few years being a volunteer fireman down there, so that sort of got me into the community when I first moved there.
Yeah. The house burns down, you say, hey, I can actually help you get another one.
Exactly, you're on to it. I must admit, there was one stage, just reversing on fire a wee bit, we had a fire and the house fire was unoccupied. And so when I got there with the crew, I broke in and put the door down and I looked around and then I saw one of my fridge magnets sitting on the... So I rang the office from the truck and said, who lives at this place? There's no one home. And they were able to do a search, and then we were able to ring the client who was playing the poker machines down at the local. Left something on the oven. So, it was a bit nice to be able to hand back a wee bit,
Are you still in the
No, work got too busy and the family got a bit older and the kids need more of my time. But I think we did about 14 years there. It was a lot of fun. Wow. I thoroughly recommend it for anyone young. But Blenheim is a very busy brigade, and take the head off to those guys.
Oh, my neighbour was doing that as well. I just saw him all times of the night. He'd be, I could see their lights turn on, him going out. Busy. But very, I'm sure, like a very fulfilling thing to do.
Yeah, it is very rewarding too. So especially when you know some of those clients in a small town, and you get to help them, and whether it be a car accident or whatever. So
So going back, 18 years ago when you started the business, for those of you who are listening, you won't know, but or watching, but we've got your business partner and wife in the room, Robin.
Yep. The boss.
Yeah, the boss.
Yeah.
So did you start it together? Like, how did that journey begin?
So what happened was we had just had kids. I think our daughter had only just been born when I decided to leave the bank. It was just me by myself, and I just started with initially I had to write a business plan, and I took basically 6 months off to develop a concept and an idea, business plan and all my forms and everything that I wanted, so that I could then hit the ground running. And my concept, I guess, is a bit like based on what regulation is all about today. It wasn't actually about generating a big income. It was just doing right by the client, and then that income would follow, or the clients would see the benefit. So there was a lot of focus around just understanding the client, doing some budgeting advice, and then showing them how they could potentially afford a mortgage and things like that. And with time, we've moved into the risk insurance as well, only for the mere fact that that's helped spread the risk or the income source. We aren't totally reliant on mortgages, but at the same time, it was a way of protecting our clients, because I have been through the situation where good clients and friends are no longer here, and if they didn't have the right insurance set up, their family wouldn't be in the same protection that they are now. So again, I think if you go with the mindset you're trying to look after that client and do what's right for them, it just comes naturally at the end of the day.
It just becomes one conversation rather than a tack on. It's just, how can we set you up for financial success?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And so, as time's gone on now, a lot of the clients and friends that I originally started with, their kids are now coming back to me and saying, hey, look, I need a mortgage or whatever. And it's quite rewarding to be able to help the children of the parents that we originally got into a house. And in a lot of cases, as we know, parents are helping the kids get into houses. So knowing the relationship and how it all works.
Generational wealth.
That's exactly So,
That's the promise. Every time somebody comes to you, your kids will come to me, and so will your grandkids.
No, very true. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the You got up and running.
Yeah.
How soon was it when you started bringing on other staff? Like how far down the line was that?
It wasn't too long. I think it was probably a good. I went to a conference. I spent a lot of time at New Zealand Mortgage Brokers Association conferences, listening to other people, things like that. I bought my first PA on probably, I would say, about 12 months, 18 months, just because I identified that it was handy to have someone there to help process some of the work so that I could spend more time with the clients. And then from there, it's basically just grown. I had a very, very good PA in the name of Rebecca. One day she came to me and she was very sick. She had been diagnosed with cancer and she had to take 12 months off work. And at that moment in time, I realised the importance of having a backup. So there was so much reliance on just me and Bex that when I lost her, I suddenly, and I'm talking within a week for her treatment, that we had to suddenly find someone else. And luckily Rob's stepped into that role until we found someone a bit more more long-term. And then from there, I started to realise that, hey, look, I need systems, or I need people to support the team. So at the moment, I have two, or I guess you call them loan writers or assistants. I've got two advisors. So we both have one of those each. But if Bob's away, I cover Bob, and so vice versa. If Blair's away, then I've got Bridget. And then we've got Kirk, who helps with the overall appointments and some of the office duties and things like that. So
And if all else fails, then Robin has to get roped in.
Robin is very special. She helps me with the insurance side of things.
Okay.
So it's a growing area, and she helps with all the administration side of it and things like that. So, yeah.
And what stage did you pick up insurance or start learning how to advise on that?
Originally, we were referring it to another insurance advisor. We weren't getting the hit rate. I was concerned about people not actually taking up the insurance, or the feedback I was getting was they didn't want to talk to someone else. So I then decided that, hey, look, I really need to look into this myself. And I guess it was probably about 3 years in that I spoke to another gentleman who was a good insurance writer and does mortgages as well. And I realised that, hey, look, I needed to do this myself and set something up. Again, it was about protecting the client, because you build that trust, and the last thing you want to do is lose that trust or confidence by handing it over to someone else. From a compliance point of view, now it's put a lot more pressure, stress. You got to know not only all the insurance stuff, but in the mortgages, it's the multiple lenders and products and things like that, and training. So, but the approach that I've taken is that, and that's the good thing about Trail that I love, is that I can do a mortgage application and then just switches straight into insurance. It picks up all that information. And then I'm able to give the client the advice on the mortgages, and then at the same time present them with a risk structure that works in with their budget, because I've done not only their budget and I understand all their spending habits and the way I operate, but now I've got a way of actually protecting them. And so that's helped with the service level from that side of it.
Good to hear.
Yep.
And how did you find the learning curve? So from when did you feel really comfortable with insurance? Was it like 3 months down the line? Was it like, how do you...
No,
that might be a hard one to...
Yeah, no. Hey, look, to be honest, I've been... I guess I can talk about products or suppliers, but I've always been an advocate for Sovereign, which is now AIA. They got me up and running in that side of it. There was a lot of one-on-one training. So I was able to get confidence in that side of it. And being from the old bank days where we had to look at insurances as well as mortgages, I knew the basics and things like that. So, and so that's just basically grown from there. And, I'd have to say that probably our strike rate's pretty good. But we also work on very much, and always have, no pressure. I say to the clients, this is no pressure, no commitment. Here's our recommendation. You don't have to take the whole lot, or you don't have to take it at all. But we need to make sure that you understand the risk associated. And we just make sure that they sign a form saying if they don't want to proceed, that they're fully aware of it. I have got cases where we've recommended it, and people unfortunately end up in accidents or stuff like that, and it would have been beneficial, but they just procrastinated. So you can show the horse where the water is. Yeah. So
I mean, especially like having those examples right there and then.
Yep.
It's like you can say, I know that it's unlikely, but it does happen.
Yep.
Why not? You're spending X amount on property.
Yeah.
Why not just have a tiny portion towards and protecting?
Yeah, the staff member that I talked about, we were very lucky. We, as a thank you, we put some income protection insurance in place for her 3 months before she was diagnosed. And so that whole year that she was off, we, it was a thank you to her for all the work she was doing. She had that income for that year. And now, even though she's moved on to another job and stuff like that, different lifestyle, she's still got that insurance in place, which if we hadn't put it in 3 months prior, so, 3 months later, It might have been a different story. So
who made that decision? It was
I think,
I won't take credit because that was 3 months before. That's amazing.
It was about 3-4 months before. And she just unfortunately got diagnosed with breast cancer really badly and aggressive cancer. And luckily she's 100% healthy now, and it's really good to see that she's enjoying the lifestyle with her husband that she wants in the Marlborough Sounds. So
and Marlborough Sound, one of my favourite places in New Zealand too.
She's a lovely lady, and she's got a lot of she's got a nice lifestyle down there, working around helping the locals down there. So,
putting that type of cover in place, it can change people's lives. So
and hey, look, we've all got examples. We have a good friend. Unfortunately, she passed away with cancer. Got diagnosed within 2 months, she was dead. But we luckily had put life insurance in place and some trauma. And, her husband and wee child that was only 4 at the time, mortgage-free, debt-free. So it was nice. We were very close to them. Her parents were like adopted grandparents to our kids. So to be able to sit with her while she was in hospital and say, look, everything's sorted, was, rewarding. And I think that's the bit that the insurance is more, I get more satisfaction out of that. It's not about selling it or promoting it. It's just saying, hey, look, if something does go wrong, then there's something there. And that's the whole process in being an advisor, is starting off and helping clients budget and understand and save for that deposit for a house. They finally get the house, and then it's putting something in place to protect them, and then working with them over the years to actually get the thing paid off. And it's rewarding to see some of those clients now that are 20 years on actually becoming debt-free or, mortgage-free. They've got kids and things like that, and they're in a strong financial position. And that's can't be underestimated from their whole advice process. I can also understand the pay for service cost, value and stuff like that, but there's also that risk that a lot of clients won't be able to achieve that because of the cost involved and things like that. So, we do rely on the commission, and I do say to clients, we sort of pay Robin Hood. The banks pay us, so we'll give you as much as we can in the support for that service going forward. So,
give and take, right?
Yep, exactly. And I've always, in a very strong point there, is pay it forward. And, I'm always of the mind that I don't do a lot of radio advertising. I don't do any newspaper advertising. I'd rather spend an hour of my time with a client and show them what to do and how to do things free, and that pay it forward. And, they're more likely to talk about you when it comes to...
Do you ask clients in meetings? You're like, hey, do you know anybody who'd be a good fit? Or
no, I don't go down that track. To be honest, on my business cards, I used to have, the biggest thank you is just recommending someone for my services, and that's what happens all the time. We never set ourselves up to be the biggest or the flashiest. We just wanted to be sustainable, was one of my key words, and what was right for the client. And my business plan has said that a number of times. It's all about sustainability. So making sure that we're there for the clients for the long time. Yeah. And that, so, but of course, regulation and things like that always puts pressure on you.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so you've been in the industry a wee while now. And you've probably seen a few trends and things like come and go. And
Yep.
like how do you see the next kind of like 5 years or so? We've seen so much change the last 2.
Yep.
What do you reckon?
I am concerned that regulation is taking more and more of our time away from actually servicing the client. I kind of think that, to be honest, I'm unsure about the market at the moment, just with interest rates rising and things like that. But I think the ones that have got good systems, good client relationships will easily get through this. I think there's going to be more reliance on advisors. We are going to get busier and busier and busier. I think our portion of the market is going to increase, and lenders will need to look more towards us to promote their services and
Each
products.
year it goes up.
Yep, and that's simply because they don't have the staff and the skill, knowledge, or they don't retain it to actually be able to give out their advice. And clients, I'm sorry to say, but clients still want to talk to someone. They don't want to be doing stuff online. They don't want to necessarily, not every person is IT literate. And it's amazing how many clients I get in that just go, I just want to talk to a human.
On a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And then, people are actually struggling to go and see a bank, or when they go to a bank, they only get one, a yes or a no. And they don't explore all their options. So, and I think the other side of it is just understanding, education. It's about educating the client is the way we treat it. So to give you an understanding how our office is set up, and we'll probably explain a wee bit about the mortgage room. So we don't actually have desks or anything like that. We have a coffee table, we have some couches, and a big flat screen TV.
I remember that actually from when we first met virtually.
Yeah, exactly. So everything is shown on the big TV, and it's sit there, they can have a coffee, whatever, nights, beer, wine, or whatever. And, there's no paperwork sitting anywhere, so you're not looking over someone's desk and seeing a pile of paper or anything like that. So everything we do is visual. It's on the TV through just a wireless connection as such. And so we can use Trail, we can do all the application straight into it. We share all the graphs and everything like that. And so they visually see and able to understand before they leave the office. And, I'm upfront, I will recommend which lenders we're going to go to and which ones this is likely to work. And that's all about having the knowledge and the skill and understanding of your lenders and keeping up to date with them. And, that is a struggle at times with all the changes, but it's a vital part. And so we get a buy-in from the client before they even leave the office as to potentially how it's going to happen and the way it's going to work. Yeah.
And they're comfortable as well. They're on a couch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You'd be amazed at, how some of them take their shoes off and lie back and, there's been a few stories.
Yeah, falling asleep? No, never.
I had a couple one day at a fixed rate review that decided they should separate at that moment in time. So I did kind of wish I didn't have the setup. I was keen to,
I've got to ask, what point of the fixed rate review did what was the climax?
But I really don't know what triggered it. It was just, hey, look, what's happening in the future? How you,
we're going nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're on. But out of respect, they are still together. So we managed to clean it up, and they're still together years on. So yeah.
Wow.
So
fair play. That's amazing.
Exactly. It was just.
So you can add marriage counsellor to your business card.
You'll be amazed. I think we're all like that as advisors.
Yeah. Do you find that sometimes, you're touching so many different parts of people's lives and they come to you?
Yep.
Do you almost feel like you're, I hate the word, but a life coach?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and Robin often tells me off for being so much of a life coach. You do there's a lot of things you get to know about clients that I would say parents don't even know, or, in some cases, their spouse may not know and things like that. So
those bank statements.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. There's a lot of withdrawals at the pub or whatever. But it's having that confidence and trust and getting that. But you also got to be careful. You can lose it very quickly as well. So it's one thing stepping up to the plate first time and doing it right. You've got to do it every time. And if you've got to be prepared, and your team needs to do it as well. So that's important, having the right team behind you. Yep. So, stress levels do get up a wee bit as we get busy, but yeah, somehow we'll get through it. Yeah.
I think naturally it can be a stressful job, because you're taking on a lot of responsibility. And
yeah. And I guess, hey, look, out of the day, none of us as advisors want to let someone down, and that's been my approach. I'm always, every time I meet someone, I'm always putting myself on their shoes and where they're at, whether they're first-time buyers and really green. We're all been there, so we know what it feels like. So let's treat it like we're actually listening to ourselves. That's the way I treat my interview. So, like if I'm meeting someone that, has got some sort of illness, or another one at the moment is a bit of financial hardship, actually walk in their shoes and say, hey, look, what would this feel like? So what advice would I like to receive? So I treat it like I'm actually talking to myself and say, hey, look, let's do a budget. Let's sit down and work this out and see what we can do.
Because same way you're trying to build and maintain a sustainable business, you're trying to get them to build a sustainable lifestyle.
Exactly. Yep. Very much so.
So how do you communicate that in a way that doesn't sound like you're a grumpy parent talking to them?
No, hey, look, it's all about the tone of your voice and things like that. And I think the way the office is set up and just willing to share and listen to them, it's all about interviewing skills personally. I don't think there's any one, and you've got to adapt yourself to each individual client. Some clients are, some of my clients, probably haven't seen a town for years. They come out of the bush, and that's so you get to understand how they.
Out of the bush.
Yeah. Well, what I mean by, they've got no ability for technology. They've got no clear understanding. And they're probably just keen to. How can I put it? They just want what. They've come for something and they just want it. Okay, so they don't want all the bells and whistles and things like that. So you just got to adapt it, but make sure you're still working in their best interest. Whereas other clients, some of them are, businessmen and they could be demanding, or they want to know everything and make sure that their interest has been looked after. And then you have the other side where you got young ones and you got the parents coming in at the same time, and they want to know that their child is being looked after and stuff like that. So, and once you start, to me, budgeting is a big part of it, because if person doesn't understand where or how it's going to impact on their life, if you can show that first, then you get their confidence, and then you can show them how to do it.
And do you have a good way of getting that message across?
Yeah, so I have developed just a very simple budgeting Excel system, and basically we just go through and we put all their spending, whether it be the dentist, everything, exactly what the banks ask now, but I've done it for the last 20 years. And then it breaks the spending down to 4 different accounts. So I have one account for all their bills, one account for unexpected bills, a spending, and a savings. And it basically takes all those monthly, weekly, fortnightly, quarterly payments, breaks it down to a nice weekly budget. And when you actually break it down and show them, hey, look, this is your income each week, this is your outgoings, you either got a surplus or shortfall. We can't have a shortfall. You're just overspending. So let's adapt it and see how we can play around with it. And especially if someone takes on a lot of debt. I had a young couple come in at one stage. They were only in their mid-20s, and they had $130,000 worth of short-term debt.
Wow.
We're going back 5-6 years ago. So that's a lot of debt on cars and credit cards. And they were not just in New Zealand, they were in Australia as well. So, and they were wanting to buy their first home. Until we got that sorted, there was, little options to be able to raise finance at that level.
So, are they in a good position now? Are they?
Yeah, I'm going to say mum and dad helped out with a bit of...
needed some time?
We did a debt consolidation loan. Mum and dad guaranteed it. We were able to then get it paid off, and then they were able to build a deposit. So some of my clients I work with for years in the way of coaching them to get a deposit together or get into the position to be able to do it. And I think you've got to be prepared to put the hard graft in it sometimes The rewards may not be there straight away, but the rewards do come. And that's
a hard thing, I think.
Yeah.
I naturally, just because of how we get information and we consume content and everything now, we kind of expect everything right now.
Yeah, and I call it that now society. And the young ones are very much like that. They want that 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 3-car garaging. They want everything that their parents have got. If we can just educate them and show them it can be achieved, but it's not the first house sort of scenario, and understanding, like, for example, what are their goals? I always ask, what's your goals in the first 12 months? What's your goals in the next 2 to 5 years and 5 years plus? And you're getting into things like they want to start families and all this sort of stuff. And then so I'm educating them and saying, well, look, you realise if you want to do this, you're going to go to one wage. How about, you increase your payments now and we borrow less so that you've got the ability to pay more and be in a stronger position when you do have family. And then when you have the family, then you take this next stage to next house and so on, and that's happened a lot of time. I think we've all been through it. I just put my own experiences and what I've achieved. I don't think it's, I'm not, out of respect, probably doing anything special. As maybe the way I communicate it might be a bit different. Yeah.
It's like the best restaurants.
Yep.
They're not doing all this crazy fancy thing. It's just simple things done well. I think that's
right.
I don't want to say it's like your secret to success, but it just seems like that is what the backbone of your business is. It's just doing the...
I know I think I was lucky at the stage that when I came on and I could see the banks weren't going this way when I left the bank. And I was getting frustrated that it was all about sales and not actually about the client. So when I was able to go mortgage broking, I was able to set this up the way I wanted to do it. And that was looking after the clients, which, I got to say, regulation's now caught up. And so what I feel like we have to do today is exactly what I started off with. So it's just a lot more paperwork, that's all. And feel like, and there's a big stick over your head. You got to get it right.
Well, at least you're at the crest of the wave rather than having to all these changes on top of doing that as well would have been a lot. Yeah, and
obviously I was able to pick up a few awards and things like that through, so that helped cement the trust locally. So
great. Tell us about the awards that you won.
So I can't remember. We've won. The National Mortgage Brokers, New Zealand Mortgage Brokers Association, when that was going. I won New Zealand Broker of the Year there. I can't remember what year that was. And then
don't have to say. I think it sounds better if you just
And then a wee while ago.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, we won the second time round with the New Zealand. Was it after NZMBA? It was PAA, that's right.
There you go.
Yeah, so,
well, great that you're getting recognised. I think it's it can be hard sometimes in this industry.
And appreciation. That was out of respect. Thanks to Rob's and thanks to the team. It's more of a team thing than a any successful business is like it's not. One person. It's always the team behind you. So. And I guess the hardest thing now is keeping on top of it. Is you set a standard. And so you want to keep that standard and don't let it drop. So
my local fish and chip shop was they had for years, 2008 to about 2014, winning top awards, and they've fallen off.
Yeah.
What's going on? I think they still taste good. Maybe the judges have changed.
I think the desire to go for the awards is probably less.
Probably you've proved your point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think the other side of this, there's always a goal, and once you get to that goal, you got to set another goal. And
you climb Everest once, What's next?
Yeah, exactly. So
what is next for you then?
Hey, look, kids, the last one's just left home. So
party.
Yeah, party. Yeah. So once I recover from that party, no. To be honest, I think it's all about building the brand. And I'm really keen to support someone like Blair further in his career. And probably look at a slow exit out of the industry, 55 at the moment, 60, 61, but probably still being active, but might be not necessarily as the business owner or something like that. So, see what happens. I
guess the same way, you're setting your clients up for like different stage of their life. I guess like you in turn also, evaluating that as well. Yeah.
So, I see that there is a lot of brokers that stay in and on and stuff like that. But I guess my desire is to actually try and hand it on to someone else. I was lucky to have Les Mackay at the time. I learned a lot off him in my first 3 years when I was at Mortgage Link. And a lot of other advisors around the country. At that moment in time, especially with the PAA, Jeff Bowen and stuff like that. So I learnt a lot off a lot of other people. So it'd be nice to hand that on to some younger ones that want to come through. Yep, exactly. Right. So, yep.
I just realised something as well. Mm-hmm. Your business is called The Mortgage Room, and you've got the room with the couches and the...
Yep.
Do you have a sign up in there that says this is the mortgage room?
Yeah, no. So all our interviews are like that.
Yeah, okay.
And I've got to say that's another great thing about Trail is the whole online service interaction with your clients. The portal, it creates that I can actually create like a mortgage room online. The ability to do obviously webinars and do interviews and things like that, and like a one-stop shop. So, we talk about chat rooms and all this sort of stuff, and that was one of the concepts that I had many years ago, was creating a room where lenders or clients could visit online and visit all the lenders. So, and I like to think that's a way that,
in turn, it's sort of where the business is now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and Trail has helped me achieve that, because it's been one of the fall downs that I've had throughout my whole career is a good CRM system. And
thank you.
Honestly, I built my own one originally, and the upkeep of that, So, and then I've been through a few others, but they just, So it's nice to get. I feel there's still a couple of little things to do, but as there was always developments. But no, it's far closer to what we've wanted as a company or as a business, small business. Yeah,
that makes me really happy to hear.
Cool.
And I just think I've really enjoyed the conversation. Just building a sustainable business.
Yep.
Like you said, it's good. Like the people who have that business model are going to see through the tougher times with a bit more ease than some of the other businesses. And
I got to say, hey, look, we have utilised a lot of trail-based lenders as well. We don't necessarily target those lenders, but trail at times
over time,
it grows. Yeah. So if you put a loan application with Sovereign, and then with BNZ and Westpac, those trail-based lenders, that helps, and you keep, you got to work for that trail. So you've got to do the fixed rate reviews. You've got to keep in contact with those clients and things like that. But, the amount of loyal clients that we have got, they are trail-based. And some of those trails, will cover our overheads.
Keep the lights on.
Yep, exactly. So, at least I know that I've got stability or income stability for my staff and that. Right. So, yep.
No, I love to hear it. And I love, great hearing those stories about, generational wealth that you're giving to your clients. I think a lot of advisors listening to this would benefit from them, from hearing this conversation as well. So, hey, if anybody, I know you said you want to give back, how do people find you if they want to have a chat?
Hey, look, mortgageroom.co.nz, we're there. Most welcome just send us an email. I'm more than happy to write back. And,
quick coffee or a...
Yep, exactly.
Webinar. Oyster Bay down in...
Sorry, what's that?
No.
You're talking about the local...
Yeah, I think... It's the local one, isn't it? My brother did an internship at one of those wineries down there, I think.
Wither Hills, perhaps?
Yeah.
Delegates.
Yep. That's the one.
Yep. No, there's plenty of wineries down there.
Yeah, I think that'll be my next trip.
Yeah. No.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you making the trip up. I think you're the first visitor from the South Island.
Right.
So you're the furthest south so far, even though you're right at the top of it.
Yeah.
No. So thanks so much for joining us.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate.